Hello, welcome to the Health In Show, an affiliate program of Homeopathy World Community. You've come to the right place to tune in and participate with your comments and questions. Love is the greatest healer of all, but sometimes, in order to change our emotions, we must take action in other spheres of our lives. We speak with experts in alternative and complementary health fields and hope you will benefit in some small or great way. Remember, you are wherever your thoughts are. Make sure your thoughts are where you want to be. I believe we're starting. Okay, so I'm doing this show today remotely from Pennsylvania.
Waiting on you, Davey.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are we going straight on with the show?
I can hear you.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Testing 1, 2, 3. You know, we just have across the world a global internet glitch. One is on Facebook, where no one is able to update their status. And I'm hearing also from Dr. Sharma that LinkedIn is also having a problem. So we jumped on board there, and right now we are broadcasting live on the Health In Show, an affiliate program of Homeopathy World Community. It's very interesting to do it in this fashion, not being able to see and all of you the way I normally do and connect the way I normally do from the live studio. But it's going to be a fabulous show, and I'm hoping that everyone will get on to the chat, because in that way we can get your comments and questions. I know that I posted on LinkedIn yesterday, and I already did get some responses concerning the oils that we have in our home for cooking and eating. I don't know whether we will get into applying to our skin, because that is another way that the body does breathe through the skin, and maybe he has a little bit of insight that way. And of course, the world runs on oil. It is a commodity and an economic value. So it has so much to do with our lives. And I think we can only touch on a tiny fraction of this information. We're going to welcome today Chris Gunnars from Iceland. And he has been gracious to do this with us from so far away. And I'm just looking at my notes here. I guess I met you either on Twitter or on Facebook somehow. And this is how we connect in the world to learn about each other. Or I might have come across his incredible blog, and he considers himself a blogger and educator about nutrition. So if you go to authoritynutrition.com, you will see such an incredible resource of information about science, evidence-based information on nutrition. He started in 2007 with this interest, first as in the field of athletics, as lifting weights, getting himself better, going into learning about diet and exercise, and he found that he really had a great passion for this. And that was how it all begins, with our passion. And I want to welcome you so much today, Chris, and also to Dr. Deepak Sharma of the Orbits Clinic in New Delhi. Welcome.
Thanks. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
So why don't we, Dr. Sharma, did you have any welcoming words or something about oil that you want to tell us before we get into the deep and dirty stuff here? Okay.
Yes. When I read your thoughts about the Chris Garner and about his researches regarding the oils, what should I think that I always advise is the olive oil for to retain the good heart and the arteries. But whenever I study about these oils, I got it that olive oil is also bad for the heart when
Really?
you cooking in into the high temperature. So I want to this truth about from the Chris today. So we are most welcome to the Chris.
Yeah,
We are here for the learning.
yeah, okay. So, the thing with olive oil, it's true that if you heat it up, at a really high temperature, it can form damaging compounds. But if you use it cold, then it's very healthy, and you can cook with it, but just don't use. I wouldn't use it for frying at a high heat.
Well, what temperature is okay? Because I have used it as both in the pan as a stir fry for vegetables. I even would use it in baking for any kind of a muffin or something like that. And then I put it in the oven at a high temperature. Let's say if I want to cook an egg roll, I will brush lightly with the olive oil and I'll put it in there. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. But if you're like frying meat at a high temperature, then I would use another kind of oil, maybe coconut oil instead of olive oil, because olive oil contains, in the molecule, the fatty acid molecule contains a so-called double bond. And these double bonds can react when the temperature goes too high. So for this reason, it's best to use saturated fats for high heat cooking.
Fascinating. We've been told saturated fats is not heart healthy, not good for us at all. And for decades now, people have stayed away from any kind of saturated fats. Do you want to give us more information?
Yeah, this is the conventional wisdom on nutrition, that saturated fat raises the bad cholesterol and is bad for the heart. But new studies that have come out in the past few years and decades have shown that this is actually not true, because saturated fat raises the HDL, which is the good cholesterol, and it does raise, the LDL, the bad cholesterol, a little bit. But what researchers are now learning is that there are many types of LDL, and saturated fat raises the type of LDL, the bad cholesterol, that is harmless. And the studies are showing that the people who eat saturated fat don't have any greater risk of heart disease than people who eat less saturated fat. These are big studies.
Are they coming out of America or other countries?
America and Europe primarily. And, these are real large studies published in, real high quality journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition.
Okay. And we have a question from Dr. Bob in the chat who asks about saturated fat, and is that the same as lard, pig fat?
Yeah, lard contains a lot of saturated fat, but it also contains some monounsaturated and some polyunsaturated. So I don't think lard is unhealthy like they previously thought. Animal fat is pretty much good for you, but it kind of depends on what the pigs were fed. If they were fed a lot of soy and corn, then it could have a negative effect on the health effects of the fat in the pig.
So you're telling me that we can eat lard, cook in lard as the ancestors, the previous generations did, and it's okay. But the fact that the chain of hierarchy of the animals, what they eat, changes what their composition of their fats are?
Yeah, just like what humans eat has an effect on the health of the human, what the animals eat has an effect on the health of the animal. And what they're seeing is that the fatty acids in the fat of the animal can vary depending on what the animal ate.
Uh-huh.
So the best animal foods are those that ate a natural diet, like cows that eat grass. They have a healthier fats than cows that ate soy or corn. for example.
How about if you took us through, I mean, you have been studying this for a very long time. Take us through the journey that you had in understanding about oils and how you changed the way you cook and eat.
Yeah, well, I got into this nutrition thing about 6.5 years ago, and it very quickly became my main interest in life. And in the beginning, I used to believe in the conventional wisdom, like that, which is promoted by the government. They recommend a low-fat diet, avoidance of saturated fat, and those kinds of things. But when I started reading the studies themselves, I realized that many of these official recommendations are completely wrong, especially when it comes to fats. So they recommend that we avoid saturated fats, which is based on decades-old science. Since then, we've had a lot of studies showing that this doesn't work, and they also recommend that we eat a lot of vegetable oils. But there are many studies showing that vegetable oils are actually unhealthy.
Right. So we're looking in the chat, and Dr. Bob is asking about corn, canola, and soy oil. Are
Yeah.
are those okay to eat? I mean, I'm sure that our ancestors must have cooked in corn oil or soy. I don't know if they did use soybean oil.
Well, actually, they didn't, because we didn't have the manufacturing processes to produce these oils until about 100 years ago. So these are the so-called vegetable and seed oils. I would avoid them. They contain a lot of so-called omega-6 polyunsaturated fats, which most people are already eating too much of.
Okay. I think that on Facebook, and I don't have my Facebook open since I closed it, there was another oil that did have omega-6, and I assume it was good for you. Well, there are others that seem to be good for you, that a portion you do want to have omega-6, do you not?
Yeah, you want to consume, a normal amount of omega-6. It's one of the essential fatty acids that we need to get from the diet. But the problem is that most people are eating too much. If you just eat meat and vegetables, maybe some nuts, then you're already getting more than enough of omega-6s. We really don't need any additional omega-6.
Tell me again, where do we get the omega-6 from?
You get small amounts from all kinds of foods. Meat, eggs, nuts, seeds. You get plenty from those foods. You don't need to add more omega-6 from cooking oils.
Okay. Let me look again on the chat. We have Cresia, who says, I don't know whether it's a male or female, has a lot of research on oils and circulate the oils using coconut oil, high heat rapeseed oil. I didn't think that anybody would want to use that. And avocado oil, high heat, sometimes olive oil. I think the person is talking about the Mediterranean diet. So can you tell us a little bit about this rapeseed oil, which I thought was canola oil, and avocado oil?
Well, rapeseed and canola oil are the same oil. I think there's a minor difference in the processing method, I think. I'm not quite sure. But the thing with canola and rapeseed oil is that they contain polyunsaturated fats, both omega-3 and omega-6. But the problem is you don't want to use unsaturated fats when you're frying things, because they tend to react at high heats. They tend to react with the oxygen and form compounds that can damage your health. That's why it's always best to use saturated fats for cooking, like high heat cooking, like frying.
Okay, that's making a little bit more sense to me.
Yeah.
So when we talk about oxidation, when
Yeah.
it reacts with oxygen, we're talking about turning something rancid, are we not?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Except, when you increase the temperature, like up to, several hundred degrees, like you could do when you're frying something at a high heat, then the fats go rancid almost immediately if they are unsaturated.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the entire, all of the fat goes rancid, but little enough so that it can have harmful effects.
If you eat a lot of it, but I mean, if you do it just on an infrequent basis, or is any amount not healthy?
Now, if you do it on an infrequent basis, then that's fine.
Okay,
It's all
so you're
Okay,
telling.
I
Uh-huh.
have a question, Krish. I just read a article in a magazine published by in Indian Journal Society. So what they are saying that they are saying every oil is have destroyed the unsaturated fatty acid on the 57 degrees C.
Yeah.
So what they recommend that you can take it in the raw form, or you just mix 1 spoon of olive oil in a 1 glass of cold milk and just take it.
In milk,
Yes, they
oil,
recommend
and
that.
milk. Okay,
Yes, one of the homeopathic physician is using it for to remove the gallbladder stones, and it is very successful. He is very successful in this criteria.
Okay, that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Okay.
well, I think that for gallstones and other kinds of stones, we often mix olive oil with lemon juice or grape juice, grapefruit juice. Dr. Bob can tell us about that because I know he's done it numerous times for other kinds of like kidney stones and things. I think it's just a very common way to take olive oil and the citrus somehow together. It creates something that supposedly cleans, like a detoxifier, and cleanses the organs. Um, Dr. Sharma, you're asking milk oil. It's are you saying that we're supposed to put milk together with oil, or are you saying clarified butter, which is ghee? Is that
No, no. Ghee is buttermilk is another thing. I'm just saying the olive oil mixed in a cold milk.
okay? Well, I don't
That is
know if I'm
another
going to
thing.
go for it, but I might try just to experiment. Would you ever try this, Chris?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm always up for experiments.
What experiments have you done?
Well, nothing really interesting. I've tried many different diets and many supplements, that kind of stuff. That's mainly it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Um, I want to tell you that Cresia is female. I don't know where she is calling in from. Rapeseed and avocado oil can only be used if they are a particular type, she says. Not all rape and avocado can be used, but it has proved by testing that the mellow yellow rape we use has undergone tests and does not saturate at high temperatures. So thank you so much for that information. And I think it makes a really good point about where you're getting your oils from, whether they have been gone through a supervision label, where we know exactly how they are processed and bottled and distributed, because there's been a lot of problems today with olive oil that has been contaminated or uh, what do you say, diluted with junk oil. Have you kept up on that?
No, I haven't really followed this discussion, but I believe it's true. And how the oil is processed can have a major effect on if it's healthy for you or not. For example, some of the oils are processed using machines that use chemicals like hexane, which is a toxic solvent, and they often use high heat that can damage the oils before they even hit the shelf.
And is that going on to all of the oils that we find in all countries? That and tell us more about the processing, please, so we understand it?
Well, like with the vegetable oils, sometimes they're processed in a factory using like real machines that combine toxic solvents like hexane and bleaching chemicals with the oil to purify it, and then they use like high heat machinery to refine the oil. But you could also get the same type of oil with the same name, but it's been through a much cleaner process called cold pressing. If you buy cold pressed oils, then they have gone through a much more natural kind of process, and they should be healthier for you.
Right. Whenever I purchase my olive oil, I always get first pressed virgin oil.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds good.
right. So is it okay? I mean, some people think that they're doing good for themselves if they buy light olive oil. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that just means it's been processed further. So it might remove some of the beneficial chemicals, like the olive oil contains a little bit of nutrients from the plant, antioxidants and that kind of stuff. So if you refine the oil and to manufacture light olive oil, then you're also removing some of these beneficial nutrients. So I would go for virgin olive oil or extra virgin.
Okay. Do you have another question, Dr. Sharma?
Here is a question in the chat by the Dr. Bob. What about the palm oil? Do you ever
Palm
try
oil.
on?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the type of palm oil. The red palm oil, which is unrefined, is a very healthy oil. It also contains vitamins E and coenzyme Q10 and some other nutrients. So if you're gonna use palm oil, then I would definitely go for the unrefined red palm oil.
I'm going to have to search to see where we could find that. Is that something, do you ever buy your oils over the internet, like in a catalog or something? And would you trust it?
No, I've never done it. I usually just use the same oils. I use coconut oil, butter, and olive oil. That's pretty much all I use personally.
Okay, you're like me. Although I'll tell you what, I do like to use grapeseed oil.
Yeah.
I like to I have a recipe, I make my own mayonnaise and I use grapeseed oil. Do you think that's okay?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's okay. In small amounts. I wouldn't use it like as a primary cooking oil, but it's okay in small amounts.
Okay, so it would be basically eaten raw. Like to make a
Yeah,
salad dressing.
yeah, that's a good way to use it.
Okay,
Because
if anybody wants a mayonnaise recipe, just let me know and I'll get it to you.
okay.
Um, and so, we have so many different oils. For instance, in Chinese cooking, I like to dress a Chinese soup or something with sesame seed oil. Is this okay?
Yeah, it's the same as with the other seed oils. They contain these omega-6 fatty acids. But if you're using small amounts, like occasionally in recipes, then and that's all fine. But I wouldn't use them every day.
Right. To compare it to, I know people will take a teaspoon or a tablespoon of raw coconut oil or more every day, just like eating it. I
Yeah,
find that kind of giving me making me feel uncomfortable, just the thought
yeah.
of, but people say they like it. So maybe you can explain a bit. Is that something you do?
No, it's not something I do, but I have tried it.
You have tried it.
Yeah, and I
I
know a lot of people who do it regularly.
they do it, and it's okay to just take a spoon of fat.
Yeah, coconut oil, it's kind of unique because it contains so-called medium chain fatty acids, which turn into so-called ketones in the body, which are like a quick source of energy. So a lot of people report that they get like a surge of energy when they take coconut oil, like raw or in their coffee or something like that. So
In their
um,
coffee. Oh
yeah, a
my
lot of people
goodness
have coconut oil in
gracious.
their coffee. I don't really recommend it. I just use it for cooking, but some people do it.
Wow. I posted the announcement of the show onto LinkedIn, and a gentleman named Jeff Tikari says the amount of oil we use to cook makes not an iota of difference to your vitamin intake. Olive oil taken in the quantities we use to cook or add to salads contributes almost nothing to your nutrient requirements. Oils, any oil, when heated, loses its goodness. Some, I gather, even become bad for you. But how bad can a spoonful of oil be, considering it can get very slightly over the border when overheated? Calorie wise, a teaspoon of sugar has far more calories. What do you respond to that?
Did you say that a teaspoon of sugar has more calories?
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of mixing up a lot of different facts or thoughts. He says,
Yeah.
calorie wise, a teaspoon of sugar has far more calories. Is that incorrect?
Yeah, actually, oil or fat contains 9 calories per gram, while carbs like sugar contain 4 calories per gram.
Right.
But in my opinion, you know, you don't you don't need to worry about the calories in cooking oils. People have been using cooking oils for a very long time without problems, and I don't think it's a problem, even though they have less amount of nutrients compared to other foods. I mean, if you're eating a healthy diet with, a lot of nutritious foods, then using oil won't make a big difference, in my opinion.
Right. It seems to me that what you just said, we don't really need to worry about the calories. I think that it's the nutritive value and the satisfaction and the triggers that trick our or trip our appetite response that is really the most important. So if you take a spoon of coconut oil and this satisfies your need for healthy energy that's going to be long lasting, it's going to satisfy your appetite so you don't just keep eating empty calorie.
Yeah, this is one thing, this is a problem with, the conventional thinking about calories is that if you add a tablespoon of fat, that you're really adding a tablespoon of, fat calories to your overall intake. But the truth is that, the brain regulates your intake of calories so that if you eat more calories of something, then you're likely just automatically going to eat less of other things. So if you, for example, people that add coconut oil to the diet, they don't end up eating more calories. They may even end up eating less because the fats have this powerful effect on satiety.
Right. Um, I really agree with that, and I think that today's generation the body has malfunctioned because of the way we just keep giving it empty calories. Like, it's funny, I'm thinking about the New York commercial advertisement showing a teenager drinking a bottle of soda pop, and it looks like fat. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen this
Uh,
advertisement.
oh, I'll have to show that to you. You will
Yeah,
love it.
yeah,
Basically, it was trying to get kids to stop drinking soda pop, especially both the ones that are filled with sugar, which it causes, cancer grows on sugar,
yeah,
and empty calories diet sodas that are made with lots of chemicals, and neither of those are very healthy. And so they show a person emptying a bottle of Coke into their mouth, and it comes out as fat. And
yeah.
as if, it's the imagery and the symbolism of it. But in essence, if they were eating healthy fats, they would probably be better off.
Yeah, that's true. I think the harmful effects of sugar go way, way beyond empty calories. So,
What do you want to tell us about that?
well, there are studies showing that if you consume a lot of sugar, most of it gets metabolized by the liver, and if you're already eating a lot of calories, a lot of carbs, and you don't exercise, then the liver can turn the sugar calories into fat, and it can cause a disease called fatty liver disease, and this can lead to all kinds of problems with the metabolism. And there are many scientists that now believe that our consumption of sugar may be one of the leading drivers of some of the biggest health problems in the world, like heart disease, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. So it does go way beyond empty calories, in my opinion. And I think the beverages are the worst because when people drink sugar calories, they don't necessarily eat less of foods instead. They don't compensate by eating less of their meal. So they're really just adding those sugar calories on top of what they're already eating when they take them in by in liquid form. I hope that makes sense.
It's interesting how we started the conversation really talking about fat and how fat, there are good fats and there are bad fats. I think that there's good and bad in literally everything in the universe. But we ended up here talking about sugar and its relationship to the way the organs metabolize the food that we put into our mouth.
Yeah. So what you put in your mouth is not necessarily what your body is consuming. For example, if you're eating a lot of sugar calories, it goes into your mouth as carbs and gets broken down into carbs in the digestive system. But once it's gone through the liver, it has turned into fat, and it goes into the bloodstream from the liver as fat. So what you put in your body, in your mouth, is not necessarily the same as what your body sees eventually when it gets into your system.
It's almost as if the metabolism went upside down, that we need the fat, and so the body makes the fat as the end product because it wants the fat really for energy. And wow, Dr. Bob says sugar is stored as glycogen, which converts to fat. Thank you. So let me see, if we go back to that other question from Jeff Takari, he says the amount of cooking oil that we use to cook makes not one difference in your vitamin intake. Is that a true or false statement?
So if I get this correctly, he's meaning that if you eat, for example, 300 calories of cooking oil per day, then you won't be eating 300 calories of other more nutritious foods instead. If I understand it correctly, then it's true. If you eat more foods with less nutrients, then you'll ultimately be getting less nutrients overall. But I personally don't think it's a problem, using regular amounts of cooking oils.
Well, I'm not really so sure. If I read what he says the amount of oil we use to cook makes not an iota of difference of your vitamin intake or mineral intake. But to me, oil can act as a carrier synergistically in combination with the other nutrients, foods, and vitamins. So don't we need to eat these oils with other things in combination in order to reap the benefits from the other foods? And that would be our vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, that's true. It's especially true with the fat-soluble vitamins. We need some fat in order to absorb them into our bodies. I'm not sure we really need much, but we need to. It's best to consume at least a little bit of fat with each meal.
Thank you for confirming that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So also, it increases fullness. If you eat fat with a meal, then you're full for a longer time. That's also an important point, I think. Fat is not bad for you like they used to think, like they have thought for the past few decades. Scientists are changing their mind, and the studies are showing that fat is something that we should be eating.
What would a meal be like without, like, a salad or whatever you're eating? What would a meal be like if you didn't put on top of it drizzle some olive oil, some lemon juice, some garlic, and salt and pepper? What would a meal taste like without that? Because don't we in our mouth have, this is what the um, the producers of junk food do. They market to us because of the feel good of the food. And
Yeah.
so maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, like you mentioned with salads, that's a very good way to make them taste better. To add some fat and some herbs, maybe some salt. But it increases the pleasure you derive from eating the salad. So adding fat to a meal does increase how pleasurable it is. They call it palatability. If you have fat with a meal, it increases the palatability. And the food manufacturers have taken advantage of this. They add a lot of sugar, salt, and fat to the foods to make them like super tasty, so that you eat more, than you need, and you start. It's kind of like an addiction. You can become addicted to their foods because they are so powerful, the flavors, and they have such a powerful effect on the brain that you can lose control over your consumption. So that's part of the formula for making addictive foods. That's adding fats to them.
Right. And the problem with the manufactured foods are they're not making these products with quality oils. And many times you're probably eating rancid oils.
Yeah, that's true. They usually use vegetable oils, like highly refined vegetable oils that are not good for you in any way. Not to mention the rest of the crap that they put in the food, like all the sugar, the refined wheat, and all the artificial chemicals. In my opinion, processed food is the reason for most of the health problems of today, like the chronic Western diseases like obesity and type 2 diabetes. That's my opinion.
Well, you've been
Yes,
doing the
and that is
you've
true.
been doing the research. Go ahead, Dr. Sharma.
Yeah, that is true. Um, what I am explaining to my patients is that it depends on the three things: what we are eating, and what the absorption are going into the body, and how the body is assimilate the fats and the other things. So in today's time, the junk food have a very strong appetizer. So when you start, if taking by taking a bite, you just finish it. Either it's a 50 gram or it's a 100 gram. So they have the strong appetizers, all the junk foods I mentioned. So and when you eat, your stomach hurts because of the strong appetizers and strong chemicals. And I already know they are using a bad vegetable soil, especially in India. I do not know about the US, but in India they are using a very bad oils, and it also hurt and increase the diabetes mellitus day by day in India, and also the obesity.
Yeah, I agree.
And one more thing, and these all are depending on our mind thinking also, because in day to day practice, what I am observing, many of the peoples are eating with the anxiety, and many of the persons while taking the lunch or dinner, they are just thinking the another thing. So they are just eating. They do not know what they are eating. So
Yeah,
it's one of the reason.
yeah, definitely.
Chris, I really, really want to thank you so much for being on the show today. And if you have to run to go to an appointment, please just let us know.
Yeah, actually, I have to go to an appointment.
Okay, well, I want to thank you, and I want folks to know that they can find you on your blog. It's authoritynutrition.com, or do you have another place that they can contact you?
Oh, that's it. authoritynutrition.com, or they can type Authority Nutrition into Google and then they will find me. So that's pretty much where I'm at. I also have a Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff.
Okay, well, we will give everyone out there the link if they go to Homeopathy World Community on the announcement page for today's show. We really enjoyed speaking with you today as Dr. Sharma and I will finish up our regular show. And I want to wish you the best of luck in your medical school studies. I know it's a hard road to row. My son is an ER doctor, and I know it's hard to get through that time in your life, but you're making a difference in so many lives already.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. And it's been my pleasure to be on the show. I thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you,
We'll be in
Rich.
touch.
Yeah, will do. Bye-bye.
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 Okay, so Dr. Sharma, we can continue to discuss all about oils, and maybe even, I have not even done any research into this. Are there homeopathic remedies made from oils?
Oh,
Do you
that's a
know?
good question.
Well, I think a rapeseed oil is one that Jeremy Shear did a live proving, and it's the Bracacia family, I believe. So the same family, and it's one where the theme is where you think of flowers reach brassica. Thank you, Kavitha. And Kavitha, you're welcome to call in. I didn't even tell folks you can call in to our show today at 919-518-9773 or on Skype at Computer 2K Voice, and our marvelous guru Amnon Nissan of Nissan Communications will hook us up together on the call. We can talk about whatever's on your mind concerning oil or anything else for that matter. So, Kavitha, if you have any information, and I know that we did a class with Dr. Jeremy Shear on brassica probably a couple of years back when he was doing that proving, and what I recall from my memory is it was this need of the field of the brassica, of the rapeseed flowers, to reach up and get to the sun, to get to the sky, and one would reach higher and higher, and they would feel as if like a sunflower opening to the warmth of the sky and the sun, that they would reach for it, and they would be crowded out by all the other plants around them. So in that case, they would have a difficult time in the group and standing out. And that's what I recall from my memory as a basic theme. Of course, there are probably a lot of physical ailments that would go along with it. I did not prepare. Maybe in another show we would talk about that. And we must have also something about olives in our repertory. I can't imagine that there wouldn't be something about olives, simply because it's such an ancient source of nutrition. I don't even know if you can overdose on olive oil. But we'll probably have to save that for another type of a show. There's also another oil called mustard seed oil, and that has an appropriate amount of the different levels of omegas, the omega-3 and omega-6. So mustard oil probably could also be used. And you think about it, whenever we're eating, when we put together our mustard seed, to dress out and spice up our food, we have mustard. When I make my mayonnaise, I put in mustard. When you make all of your Indian dishes, I'm sure that those mixture of spices also contains mustard. It says that it cuts the risk of cardiovascular disease and is also good for massaging. So in terms of that, if you think about it, a lot of these oils are great both on the skin as an application and internally. So if you go for a massage, the body can soak it up. And you think about castor oil packs. So castor oil packs are used to clean the liver by soaking up a cotton cloth with castor oil, then placing it on the abdomen, covering it up with some plastic, and then a heating pad just so that everything doesn't get greasy. And I know that a lot of folks, including myself, for cancer have used it, and it's an overall great one detoxifier. Cresia, maybe it's a good thing to look at proving oils as they seem to have an effect on the liver. Yeah, olive oil has been used for many years as an old cure for gallstones along with apple juice. That was the kind of juice that you use. And apples are very good for the liver and help break down the stones in the liver. That's because the skin of apples contains a very potent ingredient, the pectin, which is like a fiber that helps to cleanse the body. So that's why apples are so important in our life and why we have the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Mustard seed oil, thanks, Cresia, for giving us notes today. Mustard seed oil is full of long-chain fatty acids, and long-chain fatty acids are now seen as blocking the correct cellular function. Well, that would be very interesting to discuss a lot further and investigate the power of these oils. Or is it okay to eat the seed itself, like sesame seed we eat constantly in our hummus and sprinkling on our foods, making sesame candy? All of these things, we use the sesame seeds in its whole form. But when we extract, then perhaps there are only certain amounts or certain ways of extraction that are acceptable to the body. And he mentioned that the kind of technological processing that we do in the last 50 years to some of our seeds and plants end up in not being healthy. So the cold pressed is the best. Oh, we're having a request, Dr. Sharma. You want to invite Cresia to come on. So if anybody has a suggestion for a show, please contact Homeopathy World Community at Gmail. Give us your name, give us your suggestion, send us your comments, send us your feedback if you enjoy the show, and who you would like to be on as a guest. So it sounds like Cresia.
Yes, I request Keja because she's having lot of information.
Right,
and today she's the boss of this show, of the live chat show.
Okay. It sounds like she might be a homeopath also. Oh, Kavitha tried to call in and then something didn't work. Okay. And I want to let folks know what's coming up in the future shows. This has been really, really fascinating today, and I think I've learned quite a bit by tuning in. Next Monday at 11 a.m. on the Health and Show, October 28th, Amy Rothenberg, a very famous homeopath, will be talking about how to use other natural medicine alongside of homeopathy. And the more I speak with homeopaths around the world, I'm finding that this is true, that using a lot of holistic tools, such as changing the nutrition or using cell salts, telling a person to go ahead and get the massage and use the oils for cleansing, how to detox, using spirulina, doing juicing, and other things can enhance the way that the remedies actually work. And in fact, I've learned that when we give a person a homeopathic remedy, the other kinds of treatments that they're using, whether it's drops in your ears and Mullen or acupuncture, they find that it actually enhances the effect of all the other treatments. Have you found that to be true, Dr. Sharma?
For what, Debbie? Sorry.
If you use homeopathic remedies, that the other
Mm.
alternative treatments actually get enhanced.
Yes, but I prefer the acupuncture only.
You prefer as opposed to chiropractic?
Yes, in between I see when we mix up the medicine medical therapies, so we do not get the results of one therapy. So in the very few cases I use the acupuncture. Acupressure is the alternative therapy, but most of the time I am only using the homeopathy only.
Okay, so Dr. Sharma loves to use classical homeopathy. Now, on November 4th, 2013, we're going to have Karen Allen, who is an incredible homeopath educator. She is my mentor, and she's going to be talking about overactive bladder syndrome and incontinence. That's like leaky bladder, and using all the self-care exercises and hygiene, lifestyle, and everything else that goes along with healing this problem. She is phenomenal and provides so much education for the homeopathic community, the medical community, that you're going to love to tune in November 4th. This Thursday at 1 p.m., we're going to have Alan Phillips on Blog Talk Radio. That's the other place where we broadcast. Blog Talk Radio, Homeopathy World Community, and we simulcast with Freedom Eyes Radio. Alan Phillips talks about vaccinations and your rights, constitutional law, state law, what is happening to the loss of our freedoms to care and be the advocates for our children, and how government is taking over that role. In addition, I want folks to take a look at little sunshinesciences.com right below the chat, because I just placed my order for a whole box, 10 light bulbs. My original box, which I purchased about 10 years ago, is finally used up, and it's time for me to reorder. These are just like bringing the sunshine into the home, and it has very beneficial effects, probably helping with the oils that we eat, and turning the use of vitamin D in the body into healing energy. So I see Kavitha also, she ordered 2 boxes. She bought her first box and loved them so much. Her son said he felt the energy, and so she even placed a second order for another crate of them. And I'll tell you, they are magnificent in terms of light in your home. I had recently gone to the store and just got something I needed to fill in one of my hall lights. And when I turned it on, the light was so dim and colored yellow that it just does not make it for me. So that's why I went ahead and did that. The other thing that I really love is the Complete Dynamics computer program for students, those people who are interested in homeopathy, professionals as well. CompleteDynamics.com, and there is a advertisement on Homeopathy World Community to let you learn a little bit more about Complete Dynamics, or CD, computer program. You can do your research on the Materia Medica, learn about all of the different remedies. You can do an analysis and put in into the repertory the rubrics of the symptoms that you want to learn about. And then if you have a professional license, there's a free program that you can download and use it at your leisure. But if you have the professional version, then you can actually save and document all of your analysis. So Kavitha is being invited to go to India also. Everybody is invited to go and visit Dr. Sharma in India. Okay. Amnon, are you going to join us?
Of course.
Okay, we're gonna get rent a plane and fill the plane with people to go and visit Dr. Sharma, and then he's going to have to get us a hotel. Okay, so I think we're coming to the end. Oh, Cresia, I'm glad you were able to join us today, and please do share these shows. All of them are archived, so we've got going on 2 years worth of excellent shows that have so much information to educate the public. So definitely go to Homeopathy World Community either on Facebook or homeopathyworldcommunity.com, or connect to me at homeopathyworldcommunity@gmail.com, or to the New Delhi, to the Orbits Clinic in New Delhi to Dr. Sharma. He puts on lots of programs and talks if you are in India to enhance and spread the word about homeopathy. He's got 7 clinics that he manages, to my amazement. So we're just about at the end of our time today. We went a little bit over because we started late due to the internet problems. I hope folks can get on to Facebook. It's kind of weird talking without seeing and responding.
Yes.
I need your music. I need it. Give us some kind of a sound effect. Dr. Sharma, did you have any words of wisdom?
Yes, this is the first show. This is by the audio only. So we have no video of guest today. We have no video of Devi. So this is our first show, but we are enjoying the show with the such nice information about the oils. And I am just confusing what oil I am taking.
You're confused? Okay, okay, let's conclude. The best oil for you all around is, number one, the way it's processed, cold pressed. And if you can get first pressed virgin olive oil, that is the best. Then you have to look at the label, and you have to see if there is an insignia that shows it is gone through a supervising body that is reputable, because otherwise they can put any kind of label they want on the bottle and you really don't know what is in it. They have contaminated or bulked up the oil, claiming that it is olive oil, and it is really not. It's only a mixture, a blend. So you need to look at that. Then, so olive oil, number 1 on my list. Number 2 or first place also is coconut oil. And again, look for the virgin coconut oil that has not gone through any kind of a heating process. And that you can actually buy. I've bought in bulk over the internet like a gallon of it. And it took me a long time to use. Or you can get it fresh and in little glass jars. I didn't get a chance to ask Chris about storage of these oils, because whether it's okay to have them in, I'm used to buying oil in tin, in a metal container, but I guess glass is probably the very best way to keep oil. The other thing is, do we keep them in the refrigerator or do we keep them out at room temperature? So we're going to have to ask Creasy these bits of information when we have her on to the show. Is she able to give us a response to that? I'm going to check going down. Okay. Yeah, oils must be kept airtight, otherwise they will oxidize. So there you go. Those are your two oils that you know for sure, olive oil and coconut oil. You can use small amounts of these other oils, and we will continue this discussion in the future. Oh, thank you, Susie. I'm glad you're with us. And thank you, Senya and Ignatia and Kate and Kavitha for being with us as well. I think it's about time to sign off. I'm not getting any signals from anybody. So I hope that you'll check in on Thursday at 1 o'clock on Blog Talk Radio, and see you next Monday as well. Have a great week, everyone. Oh, 1 o'clock today, there's a show right here on Nissan Communications with Marilyn Shannon on the Breaking Free Show. Okay. Love to everybody.
Much.
Big hug.
Thank you, Amnan.
You're all welcome.
Yay, we did it.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays, 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays, 8 till 9 p.m. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays, 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays, 1 till 2 p.m. Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month from 7:30 till 8:30 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by thatvidblasterguy.com, carolinaapparel.com, and deltaforce.net.